The evening rush at Rusty Spoon Diner was already dying down when Ava pushed through the kitchen door, balancing 3 plates on her forearm. Her smile, thin, polite, practiced, never reached her eyes, but no one ever seemed to notice. The regulars were too busy drowning their days in burnt coffee and cheap pie. The truckers were exhausted, the teenagers glued to their phones, and the old men at the corner booth had long ago stopped paying attention to anything that didn't involve the baseball game on the dusty TV. Ava set the plates on table 6, whispered a soft, "Enjoy," and turned to walk away. As she moved, the sleeve of her uniform brushed up her arm. For a split second, the fabric slid, and the deep bluish-purple marks underneath caught the fluorescent light. Finger-shaped, angry, unmistakable, she quickly tugged the sleeve back down. She always tugged the sleeve back down, but someone noticed tonight that at the far end of the diner, where the light never quite reached and the silence felt heavier than the clinking dishes, sat a man with broad shoulders, a leather vest covered in patches, and arms inked from wrist to elbow. He sat alone, not eating, just watching people like he saw through them. His presence made customers whisper. Some left early. He was known around town only as Rex, the leader of the Iron Wolves motorcycle club. Outsiders called them a gang, but locals, depending on who you asked, either feared them or owed them favors no one talked about. Rex had been coming to this diner for the last 2 weeks, always at the same booth. He never caused trouble, never raised his voice, never drank more than coffee. But everyone stayed out of his way, except Ava, because she had to. Tonight, when she came to refill his mug, he noticed the slight tremble in her wrist, the way she winced even though she tried to hide it. And when the sleeve slipped again, he saw the bruise. His jaw tightened. Ava froze. "Just, kitchen accident," she whispered before he could speak, the lie ready, worn out, automatic. Rex didn't answer immediately. His voice, when it finally came, was low and steady. "That bruise," he said, eyes fixed on hers, "ain't from no kitchen accident." Ava's breath hitched. For a heartbeat, she thought of denying it, like she denied it to her co-workers, to customers, to the police officer who once asked gently outside the diner when she was crying after a shift. But the words wouldn't come. She felt suddenly small, exposed, fragile. Rex wasn't looking at her with pity. That somehow made it worse. He was looking at her like someone who had seen bruises like that before. Someone who knew exactly how they got there. Before Ava could say anything else, the bell over the door jingled, followed by loud, uneven footsteps. She stiffened. Her face drained of color. Rex noticed that a tall, broad man in a grimy jacket stumbled in, smelling of liquor even from across the room. His eyes were bloodshot, searching, unfocused until he found her. Then they sharpened viciously. "Ava," he barked, voice cutting through the diner. "Get over here." Rex didn't turn. He didn't need to. He watched Ava's expression collapse. He saw fear, dread, resignation. He saw someone who was used to being spoken to like that. Ava stepped backward, just an inch, but her whole body recoiled as if struck. "Evan, you shouldn't be here," she said softly. "You promised." Evan slammed a hand on the counter. "I said get over here." The diner went silent. Even the old TV seemed to mute itself. Ava moved automatically, conditioned. But before she took her third step, a hand closed around her wrist, not harsh, not restraining, but firm. Rex had grabbed her. Ava's heart pounded in her throat. She looked back at him, startled. "You don't gotta go anywhere," Rex said calmly, loud enough for Evan to hear. Evan's head snapped toward the voice. When he finally noticed who had spoken, the arrogance on his face slipped for just a moment. Then it returned tenfold, fueled by alcohol. "And who the hell are you?" Evan spat. Rex didn't rise from his seat. He didn't posture. He simply released Ava's wrist gently and folded his hands. "Someone who don't like men yellin' at women," he replied. Ava shook her head frantically. "Please, Rex, don't, he'll get worse later." Rex's eyes softened at her, then hardened again as he shifted his gaze back to Evan. Evan laughed, a cruel sound. "You some biker trash who thinks he can play hero? She's my girlfriend. What happens between us ain't your business." Rex's knuckles whitened. Ava's lips trembled. She whispered, Please, both of you, stop, but neither man was listening now. Evan stepped closer to Rex's booth. Touch her again, he snarled, and Rex stood up. The movement was slow, controlled, but it changed the air instantly. The diner suddenly felt too small to contain the tension. Rex's height, his build, the cold certainty in his eyes, it all hit Evan at once. He stumbled back half a step. Rex didn't move from behind the table. He didn't have to. You'll what? He asked quietly. Evan opened his mouth but nothing came out. Rex's voice dropped even lower. Sit down. Shut up. And walk out before you do something real stupid. Evan's jaw twisted in humiliation, but he took a shaky step back. Ava exhaled in relief, until she saw the shift in Evan's expression, the tightening of his shoulders, the fury building again. That he lunged. At who? At Rex? At her? She didn't know. Everything happened too fast. Rex moved first. One swift step, one strong arm, and Evan was slammed against the counter so hard the napkin dispenser fell to the floor. Gasps echoed across the diner. Evan tried to fight back, but Rex held him effortlessly, gripping the front of his jacket like he weighed nothing. Rex leaned in, voice icy as winter steel. Touch her again, and I'll bury you so deep the earth forgets your name. Ava covered her mouth, trembling. The diner manager peered from the kitchen, horrified but saying nothing. Evan sputtered, his bravado dissolving into fear. Let me go. She's mine. Rex shoved him back. Evan stumbled, barely catching himself. You got 3 seconds to leave, Rex said. 1. Evan didn't wait for 2. He bolted out the door, slipping on the step as he fled into the night. Silence. Heavy, electrified silence. Ava stood frozen. Her throat tight. Her eyes glossy. Rex turned toward her, not aggressive, not triumphant. Just steady. You all right? He asked quietly. No, she whispered. He'll come back. He always comes back. Rex held her gaze for several seconds. Then he reached into his vest, pulled out a card, and placed it on the counter. My number, he said. Call me if he comes within a mile of you. Ava stared at the card like it was dangerous. Her hands shook. You don't understand, she murmured. Evan's not the problem. His brother, his family, they own half this town. Nobody stands up to them. Nobody. If you get involved, they'll come after you, your club, everyone. Rex didn't flinch. Good, he said, as if that were the outcome he preferred. Ava's breath caught. She didn't understand this man. She didn't understand why he cared. Nobody had cared before. Outside, a distant engine revved. Evan's truck. Ava jumped. Rex frowned. I'll walk you out after your shift. Ava shook her head. Please don't. Evan will think, he already thinks what he wants, Rex replied. But he ain't touching you again. She swallowed hard, tears threatening but refusing to fall. Why? She whispered. Why do you care? Rex didn't answer immediately. He looked at her bruised arm again, then at the door Evan had run through. Because, he finally said, I know what it's like to watch someone you care about get hurt and not do a damn thing. The simplicity of the sentence stole her breath. Ava stood there, torn between fear and an unfamiliar sense of safety. The diner lights flickered. The customers slowly returned to their meals, whispering in excitement and shock, but the town hadn't seen anything yet, because what Rex did next, what he set in motion that night, would shake the entire town to its core. Ava's shift dragged on with the weight of a storm creeping across the sky. Every clang of the kitchen, every squeak of the diner door made her tense. She kept glancing at the windows, expecting to see Evan's shadow or his truck's headlights sweeping across the gravel. Fear coiled in her stomach, a fear she had lived with for months, but tonight it felt different. Sharper. Closer. Rex didn't leave. He sat in the same booth, arms folded, staring out the window. He barely touched his coffee, though Ava kept refilling it out of nervous habit. Each time she approached, he nodded once, silent reassurance she didn't know she needed. The clock finally slid past midnight. Her shift was over. She tied her apron, grabbed her bag, and hesitated at the door. Rex rose immediately. "You ready?" he asked. Ava's instinct was to say no. To tell him she'd be fine, that she'd walk herself to her car, that she didn't want to drag him deeper into her problems. But she couldn't lie, not after what had happened. Not when her hands were still shaking. She nodded that he walked ahead, opened the diner door, and stepped out first like he was expecting trouble. There was none, at least not yet. The night was cold. The gravel crunched under their feet as they crossed the dark parking lot. Ava's old silver sedan sat near the back, where the lights flickered uselessly overhead. Rex scanned the area before he let her approach the car. "You live alone?" he asked. Ava hesitated. "Yes." He frowned slightly, like the answer bothered him. "Where?" "A few blocks from here. Maple Ridge Apartments." Rex exhaled through his nose. He knew the place. Everyone knew. It was cheap housing owned by the Harrows. Evan's family. And they ruled the building the way wolves ruled their territory, through intimidation and silence. "You ain't goin' home alone," Rex said. Ava stiffened. "I can't ask you." "You didn't," he said, opening her car door for her. She swallowed, slid inside, and Rex walked around to mount his bike, a massive matte black machine with the Iron Wolves emblem on the tank. The engine roared to life, echoing through the lot. Ava followed him in her car as he guided the way, headlights cutting through the quiet streets. But 2 blocks from her apartment, Rex slowed abruptly. Ava's heart lurched. That Evan's truck was parked crookedly across the road, engine running, lights off. Rex parked his bike sideways, blocking the road. Ava stopped behind him. Her breath hitched when she saw Evan standing in front of the truck, rocking on his feet like he had been drinking non-stop since he fled the diner. Evan saw her car and smirked cruelly. Then his eyes landed on Rex, and the smirk vanished. "So this is how it is?" Evan slurred. "You think you can embarrass me in front of the whole damn diner and get away with it?" Rex stepped forward once, boots crunching on the pavement. "Go home, Evan." Evan's laugh was ugly. "No. No, I think you need to learn who you're messing with." He jabbed a finger toward himself. "My family runs this town. My brother's on the council. My father funds the sheriff's department. You're just some biker thug playing hero." Rex didn't blink. "One last warning." Evan's face twisted. He reached into his truck. Ava gasped. "Rex." But Evan didn't pull out a weapon, he pulled out his phone. A cruel grin spread across his face. "I called them," he spat. "My brothers are on their way. We're gonna finish this right." Rex shifted his stance slightly. It wasn't fear. It was readiness. Ava threw open her car door and stepped out, voice trembling. "Evan, please stop. You're making it worse." He rounded on her, eyes bulging. "You shut up. You caused this. You just had to flirt with this biker trash. You always think you're better than me." Rex moved before Ava could even flinch. He stepped between her and Evan like a shield. "You got 2 choices," Rex said, his voice low, controlled. "Walk away now, or crawl away later." Evan sneered and spat at the ground. "You think you scared me tonight? You didn't scare me. I'll have the whole damn Harrow family on you by sunrise. You're dead, Rex." Rex didn't answer. He simply stared at him, the kind of stare that made grown men think twice. Then a set of headlights appeared in the distance. Then another. And another. 3 trucks. Ava's knees went weak. "Oh God," Rex didn't turn. "Get in your car and lock your doors," he told her quietly. "I'm not leaving you here," she cried. "You are," he said. "Trust me." His voice was steady, too steady. Ava backed away slowly, climbed into her car, and locked the doors. Her heart hammered against her ribs. The trucks pulled up, surrounding the road like a trap. Doors slammed. 3 men stepped out, each one with the same cold Harrow family features. Broad shoulders. Cruel eyes. That same confidence that came from owning a town through fear. Evan puffed up his chest. See? Told you they'd come. The oldest brother, Marcus, walked forward. He was sober, sharp, dangerous. This the biker giving you trouble? Evan nodded. Yeah. He put his hands on me at the diner. And he's screwing my girlfriend. Ava's mouth dropped open. That's not true. Marcus ignored her. You got 5 seconds to get on that bike and disappear, he said to Rex. And pray we don't follow. Rex cracked his neck once. I was hoping you'd say something like that. Marcus's eyes narrowed. What? A distant rumble filled the air. Ava recognized it before the Harrow brothers did. Motorcycles, lots of them point one by one, bikes rolled out from the darkness of the side street. Heavy, loud, intimidating. Ava counted 8, then 10, then 12. Every rider wore the same emblem on their cuts, the Iron Wolves. They formed a wall behind Rex, engines growling like beasts awakened. Marcus's confidence flickered. Evan's face went pale. Rex finally spoke, voice carrying over the roar. You brought your family, he said. So I brought mine. Ava stared through the windshield, breath trembling. She had never seen anything like it, bikers lined up in perfect formation, leather vests gleaming under the streetlights, silent but ready for war. Marcus looked between them, calculating, suddenly aware he was outnumbered. Let's not do this, he said carefully. Rex took one slow step forward. You come near her again, you even look at her wrong, and every one of us will come knocking. Evan sputtered, she's my girlfriend. You don't get to, she's not property, Rex snapped. Not yours. Not anyone's. Ava felt tears spill down her cheeks at those words she had been desperate to hear for months. Marcus finally grabbed Evan by the collar. Get in the damn truck, he ordered, but now. One by one, the Harrows got back into their vehicles. Engines revved, and the trucks drove away into the night. Silence fell. Ava slowly stepped out of her car, legs shaking. The wolves remained still, like soldiers waiting for their commander. Rex turned to her, expression softening. You okay? She nodded, unable to speak. Rex walked toward her, stopping a respectful distance away. You don't have to go back to that apartment tonight. Her voice cracked. I have nowhere else. Yes, you do. Rex motioned to the line of bikes. We take care of our own. I'm not. I'm not one of you, she whispered. You are now, he said simply. The other bikers nodded in agreement, their faces serious, not pitying. Ava covered her mouth with her hands, overwhelmed. Rex extended a hand, not grabbing, not demanding. An offer. Let us keep you safe. Ava hesitated, trembling, then placed her hand in his. The moment their palms touched, her world shifted. Behind them, the Iron Wolves revved their engines, ready to escort her into safety and into a life she never imagined. But the Harrows weren't finished, and what was coming next would shake the whole town, far more than anyone realized.
The roar of the Iron Wolves echoed through the sleeping town as they escorted Ava and Rex away from Maple Ridge. Their formation was tight, 2 bikes ahead, Rex beside Ava's car, the rest behind. People peeked through windows as engines thundered down the quiet streets, confused and frightened. It wasn't often the wolves moved in such numbers, and when they did, it meant trouble. Ava followed Rex's signals until they turned down a gravel road that led out of town, past the abandoned steel yard, past the empty fields. The night stretched wide and silent, the moon cutting pale silver across the road. Finally, the convoy pulled into a clearing behind an old warehouse, Iron Wolves territory. Barrels were stacked by the walls, lights strung overhead, and the scent of oil lingered in the air. But it wasn't dangerous the way town gossip made it seem. It felt alive, protected, like stepping into a place where fear wasn't allowed. Ava parked. Her hands remained on the steering wheel for several seconds. Her heart hammered so hard she felt dizzy. Rex knocked gently on her window. When she looked up, he wasn't intimidating like earlier. He was calm, gentle even. You can get out, he said quietly. Ain't nobody here gonna hurt you. She opened the door, stepped out, and immediately felt dozens of eyes on her. Men and women in leather vests, tattoos covering arms, scars painting histories she didn't want to guess. She was shaking. Rex noticed. He motioned to the group. "This is Ava," he said, his voice firm, carrying authority. "She's under our protection." No one questioned him. The wolves nodded, some with respect, some with curiosity, some with sympathy she didn't expect. A tall woman with dark hair pulled into a braid stepped forward. "I'm Mara," she said, offering a faint smile. "Come inside, you look freezing." Ava glanced at Rex as if needing permission. He gave her a small nod. She followed Mara into the warehouse while the wolves stayed outside, murmuring among themselves about the confrontation with the harrows. Inside, the warehouse was surprisingly clean, equipped with couches, a long wooden table, a stocked kitchen, and a rack of blankets. It was a clubhouse, but also a home. Mara handed her a warm mug of tea. "Sit, breathe." Ava did, gripping the mug as if it were life itself. "I don't understand," she whispered. Why are all of you doing this?" Mara sat beside her. "Because Rex said you needed help." "That's it?" Ava asked, disbelieving. Mara nodded. "That's everything around here." Outside, Rex paced with 3 of his officers, Jax, Bolt, and Mara's husband, Ironhead. "They'll retaliate," Jax said. "Marcus ain't the type to swallow pride." "Try something stupid," Ironhead agreed. "Harrows always do." Rex exhaled slowly. "I ain't letting that man go near her again." "Her ex?" Bolt asked. "Evan's a problem." Rex's jaw tightened. "Not for long." They strategized until the sun began to creep into the horizon. Only then did Rex go inside. Ava was curled on a couch, awake but exhausted. Her eyes were swollen from silent tears. "You're safe here," Rex said, sitting across from her. "For how long?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "As long as you need." "No one can protect me from the harrows," she said, shaking her head. "You don't know what they're capable of." Rex leaned forward. "You don't know what we're capable of either." Looked up, her gaze meeting his. Something in his voice, something unbroken, something certain, made her chest tighten. Before she could speak, the warehouse door burst open. Jax rushed in. "Rex problem." Rex stood instantly. "What happened?" Jax swallowed hard. "Sheriffs at your house, at the clubhouse, everywhere. The harrows filed charges." Ava's heart dropped. "What charges?" Jax glared. "Assault, destruction of property, kidnapping Evan." Ava gasped. "Kidnap? He attacked us." Jax shrugged helplessly. "Harrow money talks." Rex closed his eyes for half a second, then they snapped open. "Everyone inside," he yelled. The wolves gathered immediately. Rex stood at the center. "They want to play dirty, fine," he said. "But we're not running, we're not hiding, and we're sure as hell not handing Ava over." Ava's breath caught. "I don't want anyone arrested because of me." Rex walked to her. "You didn't cause this, Evan did." "But, no." His voice was firm but kind. "You've been talking blame for his fists, his screams, his control. You ain't talking blame for his consequences." Ava's eyes filled. Mara touched her shoulder. "You're safe, that's final." Rex turned back to the wolves. "What did the sheriff say?" Jax cracked his knuckles. "They want you down at the station by noon." Rex gave a humorless smile. "Yeah, they'll have to wait." Wolves murmured, some worried, some excited. Ava felt panic rising. "Rex, please, if the police come here." "They won't," he cut in. "Not with the town watching. The harrows think they run everything. We're gonna remind them they don't." Ava had never seen someone challenge the harrows openly. It was unheard of. The wolves spent the morning preparing shifting bikes, blocking roads around their territory, setting up lookout posts. It felt like a fortress, but the harrows weren't waiting. By late afternoon, 3 sheriff cars rolled into view, then 5, then 7. A megaphone crackled. "Iron Wolves, this is Sheriff Coleman. Step outside with your hands visible." Wolves tensed. Ava felt her stomach twist. Rex walked outside calmly, stopping at the front line of bikes. "Coleman," he said, "nice of you to show." The sheriff shifted uncomfortably. "Rex, we need to bring you in." "For what?" Rex asked flatly. "Assault, harassment, threats." Rex scoffed. "Funny, Evan forget to mention he put his hands on her first, or that he came after us with his brothers. Must have slipped his mind." "It doesn't matter," Coleman said. "They filed charges. I've got orders." "From the harrows," Rex corrected. Coleman didn't deny it. Behind them, the wolves revved their engines in warning. Ava rushed outside before Mara could stop her. "Sheriff, Rex saved me. Evan was hurting me." Coleman's expression softened for a moment. "Ava, I know things ain't been right with him, but you gotta let the law handle." "The law?" she repeated, incredulous. "You mean Evan's father, his brothers. They're the law in this town." Coleman flinched. Rex stepped closer to her, protective. "You hear her, she ain't going back to him." Coleman's jaw tightened. "Rex, if you don't cooperate, this turns ugly." Rex didn't blink. "Then it turns ugly." Wolves stepped forward in unison, engines roared, dust lifted, the ground trembled. Coleman held up a hand. "Wait, wait, Rex, don't." But before he could finish, another vehicle appeared. A sleek black SUV. It rolled to a stop and the back door opened. Marcus Harrow stepped out, smirking. He walked slowly, hands in pockets, enjoying the tension. "Rex," he said casually, "you could have walked away, but you had to play night." Rex didn't move. Marcus looked at Ava. "You think these bikers care about you? They'll get bored or they'll realize you're more trouble than you're worth." Shook. Marcus turned to Sheriff Coleman. "Arrest Rex." The sheriff swallowed. "Marcus, this is too, do it." Hesitated. Marcus stepped closer, voice dropping. "My family made your department, don't forget that." His cheeks flushed shamefully. He motioned to his deputies. That's when Ironhead stepped forward. "Sheriff," he said loudly, "you try to put cuffs on Rex, you'll have to get through all of us." Wolves roared in agreement. Marcus glared. "You're making a mistake." Rex finally spoke. He said, "But you did." Marcus frowned. "What?" Rex pointed behind him. A camera crew, a reporter, a state patrol car, 3 black SUVs with government plates. Marcus paled. "What the?" Rex smirked. "You think we don't know people? You think we don't have connections outside your little empire?" The reporter stepped forward. "Mr. Harrow, we've received allegations of your family manipulating local law enforcement, intimidation, and domestic abuse cover-ups. Care to comment?" Marcus froze. Ava pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. Rex leaned close to Marcus. "You messed with the wrong woman and the wrong club." Within minutes, chaos erupted. Deputies argued with state officers. Cameras rolled. Reporters circled the Harrows. Coleman tried to backpedal. Marcus shouted at his brothers. Evan, who had arrived late, tried to run.